What we're going to do is we're going to turn standard form into vertex form. We have two parts. We're going to start off with the easy one where our a value is always 1. And then next time we're going to look at our a values being other values than 1. So when we're doing this, we're taking our standard form. We want to convert it into vertex form. And the reason why is vertex form is really nice because automatically we know what the vertex of the graph is. That's the center of our graph. So it has a lot of advantages turning it into vertex form. Now the process is we first find our new c value. So we're going to take our b value, which in this case is -8, divide it by 2 and square it, which gives us 16. We add the 16 to both sides of the equation. Whatever we do to one side, we do the same thing to the other. And then what we do is we factor it. Two numbers that multiply together give us 16, add up to -8. If we do this correctly, it's always the same number. That gives us our square binomial. Notice that we have our square binomial, and then we subtract the 16 to get our -15. So looking at example 1, first thing that we're going to do is we're going to find our new c value. So we go 4 over 2 squared. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared gives us a 4. Then we have x squared plus 4x plus 4 plus 1. But remember, whenever we add something on one side of the equation, we do the same thing on the other. The point of this is to be able to factor it. It's now factorable, so we take our trinomial and we look for two numbers that multiply together, give us 4, add up to 4, which is 2 and 2. And remember, if we're doing this correctly, it's always the same number. So x plus 2 squared plus 1. And then what our last step is we subtract the 4. And when we subtract the 4, we get y equals x plus 2 squared minus 3. Now, for the next one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start off with our c value. We're going to go -6 over 2 squared. -6 divided by 2 is -3. Squared gives us a 9. So we have y equals x squared minus 6x plus 9. And remember, whenever we add something on one side of the equation, we do the same thing on the other. Now, once we have our trinomial, we're going to factor it. Two numbers that multiply together give us 9, add up to -6. And that would be -3 and -3. If we're doing this correctly, then that means that those numbers are always the same. So we have x minus 3 squared, and then we want to get the y by itself. So I'm going to subtract the 9. And when I do that, I get y equals x minus 3 squared minus 12. Now, looking at letter C, once again, we're doing the same thing. What we're going to do is we're going to take our -2, we're going to divide it by 2, and we're going to square it. That gives us a 1. So what we have is y equals x squared minus 2x plus 5, plus 1 plus 5, and then we add the 1 on the other side. We need to factor it. Two numbers that multiply together give us 1, add up to -2 would be -1 and -1. And so what we have is x minus 1 squared plus 5. We subtract the 1, and we get y is equal to x minus 1 squared plus 4. So pause the video and try those next two. Looking at letter D, what we're going to do is we're going to find our new c value. So we're going to go -10 over 2 squared. -10 divided by 2 is -5 squared is 25. And so what we have is 25 plus y equals x squared minus 10x plus 25 minus 2. Then we're going to factor it. Two numbers that multiply together give us 25, add up to -10. That'd be -5 and -5. So once again, remember, if we're doing this correctly, it's always the same number. So x minus 5 squared minus 2. And then what I do is I subtract the 25. Y equals x minus 5 squared minus 27. For our last one, once again, what we're going to do is we're going to find our new c value. 8 over 2 squared. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 squared gives us 16. So we have y equals x squared plus 8x plus 16 plus 3. I'm going to add the 16 on the other side. I'm going to factor it. Two numbers that multiply together give me 16, add up to 8, which is 4 and 4. So what that gives me is x plus 4 squared plus 3. And then I'm going to subtract the 16. And that gives me y equals x plus 4 squared, and then minus 13.